Howdy, welcome back to the Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Matt Bertram. I am an SEO based in Houston, Texas. Today, we're going to be talking about SEO and web design. I know a lot of people listen to this podcast are web designers. A lot of people that listen to this podcast are SEOs. Many times they're treated as two separate kind of verticals, and we want to break down those barriers. We want to integrate them. And really, if you're thinking about uh, getting a new website, you really want to use an agency that not only understands, but is very, very proficient in SEO, because it's like a house. And you want to have one person build the house and then come in and have someone completely remodel the house after you just built the house. It makes a lot more sense to lay a blueprint down that has SEO in mind and have the same agency build the house and do the web design. There's a lot of great agencies out there that do that, including EWR Digital agency that I am part of. Now, before we jump into it, I want to read another quick review. This is from Brian Horton. Matt's team recently completed a rebrand for my company, and we are thrilled with the new logo and colors. This is a talented group. So we do a lot of branding, web design, PR, social media design related stuff. And it's really about brand positioning. And I would encourage you to uh, know that the value of branding affects your bottom line. All right. Quick housekeeping. Anybody that's watching knows I have a big pile of books. I haven't made it to a conference yet, but I am going to one this week. And got two books here. One is Search, Do I Really Need SEO? The Enterprise Level Playbook on How to Grow Your Business with Search Engine Optimization. Also have another, speaking of branding, Know, Like, Trust, a podcaster's guide for small businesses. I really, really believe that inbound marketing, content marketing, building your own brand, and attraction marketing. It's used a lot of different terms, and podcasting is one of the absolute best ways to do it. We are launching some podcasting services. So if you'd like to start your own podcast, if you're a bigger company or you know of a bigger company that would like to roll out a brand, we have some great new people part of the team, and we are standing up podcasting services, podcast pitching, that sort of thing. So if you have any experimental marketing that you're looking to develop, please give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation with you about that. All right. Now let's go ahead and jump into this. So this is an article by Shopify, SEO web design. Okay. Shopify wrote it. We're going to be talking about e-commerce. We do a lot of e-commerce stuff. I love e-commerce because you get to see all the data all the way through. There's no gaps in kind of completing the loop on how the marketing's working. So sites that you can go all the way through the buying process are absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed this website. It is titled 2022, but we're not going to focus on that because I think all these foundational concepts still apply. I would also tell you, I know you want more podcasts, and I know a lot of people are wanting me to produce podcasts even more regularly, and we are going to be trying to do that. But man, we have so much good content. We have over 580 whatever podcasts that we've done over the years. Many, many, many of them are still relevant, and there's all kinds of nuggets littered throughout. So I would encourage you to maybe listen to some of our podcasts, check out some of the topics, and find something interesting. You'll typically find all kinds of pro tips and nuggets strewn throughout. Also, Build Your Brand Mania. That book I had read, I think probably 300 books at the time, highlighted them up, and I pulled all the best stuff out of them and tried to shove them all into one book. So ton of value there. If you want to check that out, if you just search for Matt Bertram on Amazon, you can find all the books I'm associated with. All right, let's jump into this. Your goal is to build a SEO friendly website so that your clients show up on Google when customers are searching for their products. Okay, I guess this is speaking to us as web developers or SEOs. You also need a creative, user-friendly website so consumers can find what they want to buy. So, how do you find the balance between you having conflicting suggestions coming up with each side? Ooh, this is kind of hard. I'm going to just paraphrase some of it. In this article, we'll take a deeper dive into what SEO web design is, why it's important, and 10 things you need to prioritize to find some common ground between the two goals. Again, they are one's focused on the visual representation, others focused on ranking in search engines. I would say even the third leg of the stool would be conversion rate optimization. You need to have a very convertible site. So it can't just be pretty and win awards. I know a bunch of sites that have been very pretty and that have won a bunch of awards that don't accomplish the goal of the website unless that's what the goal is. But if its goal is to generate leads, it failed miserably in that. I know some actually not so pretty websites that absolutely crush it with SEO and maybe don't convert, and some do. It just depends, right, of what you're offering. But really, you want to try to find the best blend between conversion rate optimization, SEO, and aesthetically pleasing website that the users can easily find. But typically, all these things do go together. All right. So the conflict for site owners, especially when there are hundreds of products available on the site, becomes finding a balance between user friendly and SEO friendly um, SEO. To further complicate, many businesses have two separate teams, one for SEO, one for web development. Even if both teams are in house, having them work together to build a beautiful and successful website can be challenging, right? So again, we talked about that at the beginning. The development of the team will fight to and user the team wants to ensure the site has enough content so that Google can rank it effectively for user search queries. I would also tell you that recently Google changed and you don't need all this massive amount of content. You just need what's valuable. And actually the algorithm's looking for some key things. And if you answer those key things, you don't need all this additional content for quote unquote SEO. You just need to what you need to say. I think that there was an author, I can't remember who it was, but it's like, if you give me more time, I would have made the letter shorter. Right. And I believe that to be true. The more accurately and precisely you can say something, the more you can accomplish, especially with attention spans being so short. It's absolutely important. So for all of you that listen to these 30, 40 minutes podcast, I commend you and thank you. Hopefully you are getting a ton of value. All right. In this article, we'll take a deeper look into what SEO web design is, why it's important. I think I already said that. They already said that twice. Okay. Um, what is SEO web design? Why is SEO web design important? 10 things to optimize for web design and SEO. Walking the line between SEO and web design. I like it. All right. What is SEO web design? SEO, or search engine optimization, is the practice of optimize a website so that it ranks well in search engines. Web site design is the design and creation of a website and all of its pages. If you put it together, SEO web design is the design and creation of a website that is optimized for search engines. It covers SEO's best practices that designers need to follow when building websites. Why is SEO web design important? If your company has a stunning design, but you can't get any of the web pages to rank in search engine results, how are you going to get people to find your website? Social media and PPC are great for increasing tracking, but it's important to find organic ways to ramp up your website traffic and get your pages into the search engine results. What's our SERPs? Let's go over a few of the top benefits of SEO web design. See, I love this format, right? Organic traffic to your website is any kind of traffic coming from search engines that hasn't been paid for. These are website viewers who found your site after searching for something on Google and browsing through the top options. To be specific, the first search result gets over a quarter of all clicks. The second search result gets about 15%, and it drops off quickly from there. I would tell you these numbers are even higher. I have some studies that say 38% of all the clicks go to the first position in Google. And that's why so many people say that SEO doesn't work. Well, It doesn't work for the masses. It works for the top people, the people that are in the first, second, and third position, really. And that's why also SEO takes so long to work, because unless you get keywords into those top positions, you're really not seeing much of that traffic. So you got to own the top positions. You need to own that top spot in Google. And well, you know, that's where the lion's share of the traffic is. So you need to find an agency that can get you up there. I would encourage you to look at EWR Digital, but there's a lot of great agencies out there. All right, Google search CTR per rankings, right? And it's just showing another graph. This is based on Citrix data out of Search Engine Journal. A lot of the studies, I think it just keeps leaning more towards the top positions. And more towards mobile and more towards organic. All right. Since the 10th result, you get 2.5, 10th result. So, you know, there used to be kind of 10 spots on the first page. A lot of these analytical tools still show that. Now you have kind of, I forget what it's called, ultimate scroll or whatever. But usually it's like a break between ads and then you get the next page, but you don't have to actually click to the next page. You know, again, they're trying to show it to more people. But again, you're in that 10th position. You're only getting 2.5% of the clicks. So think about it. If 100 people are clicking, you're getting 2.5. And then based on this graph, if 100 people are clicking, you're getting about 29 people, 28.5% people clicking on it. Add a zero to that, add 2 zeros to that. You see how significant it becomes. All right. So it's safe to assume that anything past the first page is abysmal. I love that word, abysmal. Organic search results. That is why you want to design and optimize your site as well as possible to increase the chances you rank higher in the SERPs. SEO web design attracts high intent traffic. When someone is conducting a Google search, it's because they have a specific query they're hoping to find information about. And when the page shows up at the top of the search results with the exact answer, they're going to click over to your page. Hopefully, there's also position zero where they might get their answer and actually not come to your page, but you get some branding benefit because they cite the source. When they may not when they may not convert right after discovering your website, they're not aware that they can come back to you if they have any other related questions. The top of mind brand awareness is ideal for increasing conversions, all because they're searching for something in your industry. Also, you want to understand what this customer journey is, and you want to have content and rank for terms along the way. The more times they see your brand, the more uh, familiar they become with it, the more aware they are of it, and the more likely they are to buy. Uh, Pro tip or some really good information. Why people typically buy. There's two things that most studies have suggested. One, they buy familiarity, so they got to know who you are. They got to know, like, trust you, that sort of thing. And then the second thing is novelty. You have something that they need, that they view different or positioned in the marketplace differently. Those are the two things you absolutely need if you're going to win in online marketing. All right. Have high intent traffic. It is even more valuable than other traffic. It is absolutely true. High intent traffic, which is why it's important to optimize your new website for increased search term rankings of the search terms that you want. So if you send the wrong signals, you rank for the wrong things, you get the wrong kind of leads, you need to look at that. Google, SEO, and also I would tell you even DuckDuckGo is pretty high up there as far as search engines. I think it's the sixth most searched site in um, in the world. Uh, High intent traffic needs to be the keywords that people are searching for, and it's a reflection. It's like looking in a mirror. So these search engines are like looking in a mirror, was my point. And if you're not getting what you want, you need to reevaluate what you're ranking for and what content and what signals you're sending out. Because Google's trying to give you what you want. All the search engines are trying to give you what you want, right? All right. SEO web design improves user experience. Every dollar invested in UX brings 100 back in return, an ROI of 99,000%. So UX, is it important? I would say yes, but it's not the only benefit. If you want to get on the good side of Google's algorithm, your website needs to be SEO optimized, but also user friendly. Google has refined its criteria for user experience related to metrics into your ranking. Based on studies done by Backlinko, some of these criteria are dwell time. Okay, so Google says it's not dwell time, but all the things add up to dwell time, mobile usability, and bounce rate. I would even say a lot of these things fit into core web vitals. So you need to be looking at that. Improving your website SEO is an essential part of any marketing strategy. It ensures your website works well and is easy for visitors to navigate, so they can find the information they're looking for. Google only wants to rank the best websites to prevent its own users from being impacted by poor websites. So having a high ranking uh, site that builds trust with the user while helping them find exactly what they're looking for. I would add to this to say, think about it. Google's not indexing a lot of sites, not indexing a lot of pages or blogs, etc. It's only indexing the top 100 for that search term. And there's more content being created every day. So it becomes more and more competitive. So if you're not ranking for a keyword term or a page is not ranking, you need to really reevaluate and say, hey, is this a good page? Is this good layout? Is this good content? Is this good SEO web design? That sort of thing. And then if you improve that page, resubmit it, or just give it time, Google typically re-index it, it will decide whether or not it goes in the rankings. So again, it's a mirror, right? All right. SEO web design gets the most from your marketing budget. An SEO strategy can take some time to implement, but the changes tend to be, well, free. Many business owners can put SEO parameters in place themselves with a little bit of website knowledge, or can divert to someone on their team. I really view like a SEO as your online representative, your online PR person, to help make sure you're showing up in the SERPs and in the online news, right? The point is that SEO is a low cost strategy for helping your website reach your marketing goals and increase your overall ROI. I think that's the really cool thing about SEO. Unlike paid ads, you stop doing the SEO, and there are Google and search engine changes, but it's really, really based upon how you're doing versus what everybody else is doing. It's a zero sum game, and so is your website delivering on that marketing term better than someone else? And all the Google algorithm tweaks are just meant to help uh, users find what they're looking for. So sometimes you've implemented a strategy and Google hasn't caught up, but if it's the right strategy, over time it will happen. And if you're trying to cut corners, those things are quickly going away, and just good quality marketing and really trying to answer the user search is what's going to win long term. 10 things you need to optimize for with SEO web design. Now that you know why SEO web design is important, wow. Okay. What time? Where are we at on time? Okay. Uh, now that you know SEO web design is important, let's talk about how you can optimize your website. Keep search engine optimization top of mind throughout the entire web design process to make implementation these 10 items as seamless as possible. After all, you don't want your web development team to create an entire website that you have to have your SEO team tear apart and make the process even longer. I 100%, 1000% agree with this. Instead of having two teams work together on each of these items during the design process, it helps streamline the overall project. And I think that this is why it's so important if you're looking to develop a new website or have an agency or an individual build you a new website, they need to be proficient in both SEO and web design, or it just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense to build a new website without building it with SEO in mind. You can always find somebody to even consult if you want to have somebody else building it, but you want to have SEO as part of the process and not after the fact. I've had many, many enterprise clients and small business owners go, okay, really like you for SEO. Okay, but I'm going to go have so and so build the website, or we're going to build an internally, we're going to do that. And then they come back after the fact, even though they said they're going to keep us in the loop. And then they go, okay, well, the site's not ranking, or they launch a new site and it just completely tanks in Google because they didn't have SEO as part of the process. So that would be my one pro tip. If anything you were to take away from this is you need to have SEO as part of the process from the beginning, not as kind of a check the box at the end. It doesn't work well that way. You can only make so many changes because you're retooling, recustomizing what has already been done. And sometimes you've gone so far outside the SEO blueprint that it's hard to get back, and you have to do a lot of quote unquote remodeling. All right. Google search algorithm uses more than 200 factors to rank a website. It's hard for any one designer to design them all. Instead, start optimizing the following 10 elements to get your pages ranking: mobile friendliness, website design, sitemaps, readability, image files, names, alt text or alt tags, website navigation, URL structure, metadata, indexable content. Now, I think there's some more in here. We have more of our like internal checklists, and I need to have some maybe downloadables uh, for people on the checklist we use internally, but this is an absolute great start. All right, let's go through it. Mobile friendliness. In 2001, 55% of worldwide traffic came from mobile. By 2025, it expects three-quarters of all world traffic will use smart marks to access the web. I think we're already kind of there. Having a responsive website helps improve your SEO, but also ensures your target audience has a seamless experience, regardless of if they're accessing your site from their computer or mobile device. Design mobile first. Let's take a look at these website designs. Blah blah blah. It shows some web-based designs that you really need to have mobile in mind, or it could look bad. They're talking about e-commerce sites. As you design your website, make sure your development team tests that it works on both desktop and mobile and different devices. I would add this is essential ranking factors because Google released a mobile friendly update to the algorithm back in 2005 that boasts responsiveness of websites and search results. I'll tell you, the spiders now only look at mobile. Okay. So, really, really important. Website speed as of 2018. Website speed is another item that factors into Google's algorithm that makes sense. No one wants to deal with a website that takes ages to load. I mean, like 3 seconds max. Like you want it to load instantaneously. Like people have no patience for websites that don't load. Even the younger generation, it's more and more needs to be instantaneous. So core web vitals. Things can affect your page experience. Web hosting, file size, plugins, coding scripts, uh, traffic volume. A lot of junk code is in a lot of some of those WordPress templates and stuff like that. Too many plugins, file size, image size, some of the web hosting, that sort of thing. Um, if you don't have load balancing or you're on a shared server, traffic volume can get throttled. So a lot of things to consider. Luckily, Google offers a free page insights tool that lets you insert your website URL and see what it stands for. Here's what I'll tell you. It always, I think, defaults to the worst case experience. And it's always like the worst page. So you always know what the bottom threshold is, right? Your website will get a different score for both desktop and mobile, along with several metrics to help you pinpoint to improve your page speed and therefore your rankability. Sitemaps, super important. While Google is very smart, it's never a bad idea to give them a helping hand. That's exactly what a sitemap is. A sitemap is a file that houses all of your web pages, files, videos, everything else that lives on your website. These are handy for websites with a lot of different pages, especially if they're not all linked together to other pages on your website. It helps Google find and crawl all the pages so um, they're all eligible for ranking. After all, if Google can't find the page, it's not going to generate any organic traffic. Also, it makes it more easier or less difficult for Google to find this stuff. So it uses up, I believe, less crawl budget. All right. Readability. Another major ranking factor is readability. If your site visitors can't read the copy on your website, they're not going to get anything valuable from your business. Best practices say that big, bold, surface, SERIF, sorry, I'm not saying that right, or sans surface, I'm saying that wrong, fonts should be used throughout your site, and its headers and its copy blocks should ensure that it's easy to read. And then it gives you some examples. Image file sizes are small that you might not even think about it, but they can actually be a big asset to your website optimization. Think twice before naming something. Okay, so I see that a lot. People are not naming their images in a descriptive way. If you're not filling out the alt text and the rest of the fields, Google's going to spend a lot of energy to guess what that image is about. It doesn't like to do that. It wants you to tell it. It wants to verify it based on its indicators. So you want to label that. You want to be compressing those images as well. You can also over optimize or over compress images and they become grainy. So you want to use a tool or have a process to every time you upload a image to make sure you compress it. I see a lot of websites, a lot of businesses that as websites build over time, maybe their internal team's been trained to make changes, add things to it, and they're not optimizing images. So that's one of the first things we look for in our checklist. Alt tags. Alt tags are fantastic. In a similar vein, your images need to have alt tags. This is important for a number of reasons. One, images are returned for nearly 25% of Google search queries. So people use images a lot to search. Data shows that the majority of younger searchers want visual search capabilities over any other technology. Also, they're integrating images into the text search to make richer results. And so you need to be thinking about that as you optimize for it. So they're basically merging those two functions. It's not like a toggle tab, that sort of thing. Alt text lets Google algorithms know exactly what's going on with your images. If it matches your search intent, your images could show up in the search results. If it doesn't show up in the search results, you don't get any link equity from it. So you want to get it indexed. You want it showing. Easy way to do it, search for your name, see what's coming up. Your alt text should be a complete sentence that describes exactly what your image, complete with a capital letter at the beginning of your sentence and a period at the end. I wouldn't have thought that. I have been trained or told or had experience that basically alt text is really like the keywords, like old SEO keyword stuffing, quote unquote. You want to put the image, like all the different keywords associated with that image in there. A complete sentence with a capital and period. That's interesting. I got to look into that more. I don't know, but that's what this Shopify blog is telling us. Interesting. I learned something. Second, it improves your overall accessibility. Anyone using a screen reader can access your website, is able to understand what depicts in your images, helping those who are visually impaired that still have a stellar user experience. Okay, so website usability is a big topic. I think that there's something like 13% of America is some kind of impairment, whether it's hearing or visual. It opens up your user base. This goes into kind of a corporate responsibility and internet access for all. If you're a bigger corporation, there's even laws and fines associated with it. So you really do want to make sure your website is accessible. If you're a business out there and you don't know what I'm talking about, please reach out to us. We do have accessibility options, but it is something you should consider. How do you know if the website is accessible or not? There's usually like a little logo or a little person or a little wheelchair or something like that on the website that you click it and it will open up the website usability functions. You can also build it into the overall build of the site, but it is something you should start to consider. All right. Website navigation. Web developers are typically focused on the site's overall look, feel, and user experience. Designers and developers will care about the page's visual elements and how consumers interact with those elements. They often like to keep things as simple as possible, especially since consumers using mobile devices have long surpassed users using desktop or laptop devices. But critically, your website navigation also provides internal links to your most important products or features. Now, I can go in real deep on the SEO of menus. I won't do it on this podcast, not to derail the overall flow and what I'm talking about, but I will do that in a later podcast, and I have done it in some past podcasts. All right. User navigation has drop-down menus to help most important pages help menus leading to the most important pages on your website. This helps increase the overall internal links for each of the pages, including the navigation. This is because each page with this navigation counts as unique internal links. It is, but there's also value issues with the header nav and also the footer nav, just FYI. Increasing the overall link exponentiality. Okay, there we go. To rank higher on the SERPs by subcategorizing pages which target the keywords they're hoping to rank for. There's a whole way to structure your menu, just FYI. When you consider large e-commerce sites with hundreds of thousands of products, site navigation becomes more critical. Here's an example of an SEO-friendly site. They're talking about the REI site. A lot of different choices, a lot of different navigation. 3 clicks away from anywhere on the site. Good rule of thumb. Sometimes you can go overboard and you flatten that yield curve. So from the SEO standpoint, no page is more important than another page. So it's good for maybe web design, but might not be so good for SEO. So there's all kinds of strategies that you need to consider when you're coming up with the blueprint for your new site or remodeling your existing site. Nearly all organic search results are subcategory pages. So you have to have a dedicated page for this keyword that is highly useful from the search and likely user perspective, using the same process as above. When your Google, whatever they're using as an example, most of the pages ranking are for product pages rather than subcategory pages. This means you could likely optimize a product for that keyword, not just to build out a dedicated subpage. Additional points to consider when trying to optimize for people in search engines include using a content hierarchy. This organizes your website pages through categories and subcategories. If you have more than a dozen products on a page, you can consider building out a subcategory. Cross-linking pages. SEO and content teams create useful blog posts, FAQs, and other content that can direct more traffic to product pages and vice versa. Horizontally linking each um, navigates users to more information about your products or company or boost your SEO efforts. So this is called internal linking is what I call it. No thinking required. Ultimately, navigation from your website shouldn't require much brain power. Your website should clearly guide users to where they want to go. 8, URL structure. Pretty important. Your URL structure should also be structured around your SEO strategy. And this is super important to start from the beginning. We have so many websites, and we've even been guilty of this, is you got to think of the end of what you want the website to look like and how big you want the website to look like and how structured you want the website to be. And you got to start with that in mind when you're building it out, or it becomes exceedingly difficult to bolt on additional sections or pages or subcategories to a website. So, pay attention to this part. It's really important. Your URL structure should be structured around your SEO strategy. Each URL slug should also include your web page or post focus keyword. Make sure to do keyword research for each page you plan to include in your website design or redesign at launch. And do the same for every new page that you create along the way. Also, I would say nest the pages properly. This helps Google understand the keywords to rank your pages and while keeping your pages accessible. Because most focus keywords are only a few words, this ensures your URL slugs are easy to remember, typed into a URL field if someone is looking for a specific page. I would say another pro tip is shorten the slug as much as you can. You don't want to use a bunch of filler words in the slug. I know we have all done it, but it's not the best practice, I would tell you. All right, metadata. Your metadata or metadata tag includes things like your title tags or meta description. This is the information that appears in Google search results. Considering 36% of SEO experts think that the title tag is the most important SEO moment, make sure your metadata is optimized. I would agree. Certainly, caffeine, the algorithm caffeine really looks at your metadata, your headers, your title tag first, right? So it's like kind of like how you read a book. What do you read first? You typically read the title, right? For example, okay, it's talking about Shopify. Your title tag and meta description should include your page, post, focus keyword. Further improving your SEO, your title tag can have a maximum of 60 characters, while your meta tag can have a maximum of 160 characters. There's a lot of tools that you can use to help you visualize this on the back end. I would encourage you to explore SEO plugins if you're using a WordPress site. Indexable content. If search engines can easily crawl a site, easily exploring, reading, understand the content for each page of the site, then it's considered an SEO-friendly site, and the probability of pages appearing in the search results becomes much higher. So you want to have less errors. You want the spider to be able to get all through your website, no problem, without bumping into hurdles. In order for the website to be crawlable, the main content on each page should be in the HTML text format, since this is the easiest way for Google to understand what the page is about. This is a quote. If a search engine can easily crawl a site, easily exploring, reading, and understand the content on each page of the site, it is considered an SEO-friendly website. Okay, so they pulled that out. One of the biggest challenges of web development and SEO teams run into the use of JavaScript versus HTML. Yes, HTML is great for Google, but lacks the functionality that JavaScript brings. Since sites are designed with various JavaScript formats, such as Angular, React, and more, many developers therefore like to use JavaScript to make the site function a certain way. I agree. However, all these different JavaScript programs can cause issues for the search engines due to that. Things like code errors, yep. Client-side rendering, yep. etc. It takes Google a large amount of time to download, render, parse, compile, execute JS code, fetch external resources, and then index the information. The more you add to your JS library, the more resources it takes for Google to crawl and index the information. Both teams need to be aware of this fact. Since all these impact site speed and Google's crawl budget, I would tell you that designers love to utilize JavaScript. And so be careful, especially if you're using like templates, like WordPress templates. Some of these are really bloated, so be careful. Um, it's got a little cool graph here about crawling JavaScript, and CSS. It just takes more time. All right. Additionally, you should always check to see if Google is able to crawl and index your content. A quick way to see this is if your site content can just run a quick search in Google to see if it's indexed using the exact text on a certain page, right? Take the title, post it in there. If you copy and paste the text in Google, your site doesn't show up, you need to troubleshoot the JavaScript coding to identify where the problem is and work with the development team to find a good solution that allows Google to crawl and index your content. Also, you can work in Search Console. It really helps you out a lot. Ultimately, users want a site that loads fast. 40% of all users are likely to abandon a site if it doesn't load within 3 seconds. I think I talked about that earlier. It's the best interest of both. It's in the best interest of both teams to create a site that looks good and has information a user needs and loads fast. And yes, you can strike a balance between the need for JavaScript and the need for SEO friendly site. You can look into the methods to make JavaScript work for your site, without causing SEO issues. Everyone wins. Remember, do not forget conversion rate optimization. All right, walking the line between SEO and web design. The key to a well-developed SEO website is to bridge the gap between website development and SEO. Encourage your team to work together from the beginning so that your website is fully optimized for both SEO and usability. Remember, providing value to your customers is the best way to rank search engines. So optimize the elements above, write quality content, and design top-tier user experience to improve search results. This is by TJ Welsh. Um, uh, Shopify partners, I guess, got to post it. I really think this is a good article. It gives a great foundation. So, yeah, if you like this article, you found it valuable, please share it. Please comment. Please send a smiley face to emoji on whatever platform you're on. Please just engage. Would really, really appreciate it. If you want to go that extra mile and help support me, I would totally appreciate that. Trying to get some more reviews on trustpilot.com/review/ewebresults.com. So EWR, right, is eWeb results shortened. We did the kind of KFC thing. So if you go there, we'll put the link in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to see new topics, if you have any feedback, please share that with me as well. I do have office hours. Would love to connect with you. We also have one-on-one consulting, and we have full, cachet of all digital marketing services. We're an integrated marketing agency. We've been around 23 years. We've won tons of awards. We have a great team. I would encourage you to engage us if you're looking for web design, SEO, or both. That is our ideal client, from small clients up to enterprise. We can do it all. So thank you so much. Until the next time, my name is Matt Bertram. Bye-bye for now.